Okay, so now that you have gotten all of your Jetsons cut out, what we're going to do is we are going to open, so File, Open, go to your Photoshop Practice number 4 folder, and you are going to open the Jetsons ship. We're going to cut the Jetsons ship out, okay? First off, we're going to double click on our layer. You can rename it Ship. It's always good to get in the practice of renaming our layers pertaining to what they are. And we are going to go over the magnetic lasso tool. So the magnetic lasso tool, you will see a magnet above it. And what that does, if I zoom in, we're not going to worry about these circles. It will try to cling on to them, but it's okay. You click and then you just follow your cursor along the outline of your image and it clings. It adds these little anchor points. And if you by chance mess up, let me go right here and see it added an anchor point, I can always click the delete button and go back and try again. Okay? And you're going to trace. The faster you go, the less anchor points it does. And remember, you can hit your space bar, hold it down, click and drag to move around your subject while it's zoomed in. I suggest doing it zoomed in as best as possible so that you can see as close as you can. Boop, boop, doop, doop, boop. And you're just going to trace around that whole entire image. And you can see I kind of messed up a little bit on that little wing there. It's okay. I'm going to show you how to fix that here in just a second after we get this all completed. And when you get to the final bit, you will see a circle and you'll click and it makes a selection. So as you can see, there's some areas that aren't quite perfect that we might have missed. That's okay. All right? So what we're going to do, we can actually add to our selection or take away from our selection. So we had this magic wand tool. Well, now we're going to navigate the quick selection tool. Okay? And just like with the paintbrush, you can change the size to make it smaller or bigger by using the brackets on your keyboard. Okay? So I'm going to make it super tiny and I'm going to zoom in to this little area right here. And I can even make it tinier so it'll just select less pixels. Well, right now it has a plus sign in it. And if I brought it out, I would actually add to the selection. Well, I don't want to do that. Command Z is to undo. I am going to hold down Alt. And if I hold down Alt, it will actually have a minus sign. And I'm going to come on the other side of that selection and I'm going to click and drag while holding down the Alt key. And I am going to erase that area. It's pretty good. Okay, now I'm going to go in and I'm going to add to this area. Oops, I accidentally hit Alt. It's okay, I can add it back in. Don't hit Alt while doing this. Just click and drag the areas that you want. Okay? Keep it zoomed in. That looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. We'll kind of minus through here. going. And then right here also got a little boogered up. We're not worrying about those little circles. And I'm going to hold Alt and I'm going to take away. And it's okay if it takes too much away. You can always go back through and add back in. You don't have to click and drag. Sometimes you can just click individually and it will just select a little bit. Sometimes when you click and drag, it will it'll go too far. Okay, you just do that until it's a pretty decent selection. Do it down here. Take away from here, right in the little armpit. Over here, take away from the little armpit. Add to this little part right here. Take away. Until it's as good as we're gonna get it. And we'll check this. And I apologize, I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. Definitely get over here. You see these are very light layers. And I feel like this dome right here was pretty good. All right, so you know how to add to a selection and take away from a selection. You know how to use the magnetic lasso tool to cling to the sides of something you want to cut out. And now what we're going to do is Command X, Command V to add it to its own layer. We also could have done, and I'll show you this, Command Z back to where we have our selection. We could have also gone up to Select and select Inverse. Now what that does is now everything in the middle is going to not be affected, but everything around it has been now selected. So you've inverted it. And now, if you wanted to, you could do that, and you could click Delete and delete the background. And then Command D. So there's several different ways that you can cut an image out. You could have also, I'll go backwards a little bit. I won't do inverse. I'll just keep my, and you could have also clicked the mask option. Okay. Now with the mask option, you can go in and you can actually double click on it and you can enter, select, and mask. And if there was an area that you wanted to kind of still take away, you could go back through. My brush is a little light. We don't want the transparency to be so, and we can also shift the edge. But yes, we don't want the transparency to be any lighter because then we're gonna get a hard image. We want a hard line. So that's me holding, adding back to it. I don't want to do that. So, and it'll kind of adjust. So that's how you can go back through and refine the edge. Kind of shift the edge a little bit if you wanted to. So that is one way you can go through and refine the edge if you wanted to, just by double clicking Here's the Refine Edge brush tool. And once you are satisfied, you can click OK. Also with it selected, if you have your paintbrush tool just selected like normal, change the hardness so that it's nice and hard. And it's, oh, okay. Click off of it. You can actually go in, and if I take away, I can take away the mask if I wanted to. And if I wanted to add more in, I could click X, toggle between the foreground and the background color. And if I did that, then I'm adding more of my background image back in. So that is another way that you can add or refine your edge. Okay, so to toggle between the foreground and the background color is X on the keyboard. Okay, so when you have it on black, it's going to take away more of the image of the mask if you did the masking option. And if you do the white, it's going to add more of your background image to the mask. So it's very, very, very beneficial for things like hair. Okay, so there's multiple ways that you can cut out an image and refine the edge. It's just a little bit of an overview that we didn't necessarily get to go over in class, but there's that. So now we're going to head over to part 3 of our Photoshop practice number 4.